Her stepmother prepared her food with her baby umbilical cord. After Zeri's mother passed away, her life took a turn she never saw coming. Her father, lost in his grief, remarried a woman named Olamide, whose beauty was only matched by her cold, calculating nature. At first, Zeri tried to believe that the new marriage could bring some peace into their home, but Olamide quickly revealed her true colors. The once loving home Zeri had known with her mother became a dark, oppressive place. Olamide made no effort to hide her disdain for Zeri, treating her with a coldness that sent shivers down her spine. Zeri was often given the hardest chores, forced to eat scraps while Olamide and her father dined in luxury, and scorned at every turn for no apparent reason. Her father, blinded by his new wife's charms, refused to see the growing tension. His love for Olamide seemed to eclipse everything else, including his daughter's pain. Then came the fateful day when Olamide, ever scheming, concocted a plan that would forever change the course of Zeri's life. "You will marry him," Olamide commanded, her voice dripping with venom. Zeri looked up in confusion, the words striking her like a blow. But he's just a farmer. He has nothing." Her stepmother's lips curled into a cold smile. "You will marry him. He is the one I have chosen for you. You are to be a good wife, learn your place." Zeri didn't know it yet, but Olamide had set her sights on a much larger game than just marriage. She had promised the poor farmer a dowry that would allow him to live comfortably, a promise Olamide had no intention of keeping. Her goal was simple: destroy Zeri's happiness and prove to the world that she could control every aspect of her life. Reluctantly, Zeri was forced to marry the farmer, a man who appeared meek, with little to his name. The wedding was simple, far from the grandeur that Zeri had imagined for herself. Little did she know, the man she had married was hiding a secret. Months passed, and Zeri tried to adjust to her new life. The farmer, whose name was Io, lived humbly in a small village, working the land day in and day out. But Zeri began to notice strange things. Though Io wore ragged clothes and spoke little about his past, there were moments when his demeanor seemed to change. His eyes would flicker with something mysterious, something almost calculating. She couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to him than he let on. And then, it happened. Zeri discovered the truth. Io was not poor at all. In fact, he was one of the wealthiest men in the region, with property scattered across the land and businesses in the city. He had only pretended to be poor to protect himself from the greed and manipulation of others, especially his wife's family. But Zeri wasn't angry. No, she was confused, hurt by the secrets and lies that had been kept from her. Io explained that his wealth had always been hidden for fear of being targeted, and he had hoped to give Zeri a life away from the corruption and greed of her family. When Zeri gave birth to their first child in a grand mansion, far from the humble life she had imagined, she couldn't help but feel a sense of disbelief. How had she ended up here? How had everything been so different from what she'd been told? But the unexpected twists didn't stop there. Word of Zeri's newfound life quickly spread, reaching the ears of her father and Olamide. The stepmother, who had always seen Zeri as nothing more than a tool to control, suddenly saw an opportunity to regain favor with the girl and perhaps secure a better position for herself. She pretended to have changed, claiming that she had learned the error of her ways and now wished to make amends. Olamide convinced Zeri's father to approach her. He begged Zeri, pleading with her to allow her stepmother to visit, promising that she had truly changed. Zeri hesitated, her trust in her stepmother shattered years ago. But, as a mother herself now, she felt a twinge of compassion. After all, Olamide was still her father's wife. So, despite the deep-seated reservations that gnawed at her heart, she agreed. She would allow her stepmother to visit for the Omugwu, the traditional celebration that marks the birth of a child in their culture. The day of the Omugwu arrived, and Olamide came with a smile plastered across her face, a false warmth in her eyes. Zeri was nervous, but she tried to remain calm. Olamide brought food, rich and aromatic, and insisted on preparing the meal herself. "It's a mother's duty to provide for her child," Olamide said, her voice almost too sweet. "You have suffered enough, Zeri. It's time we put the past behind us." But as Zeri sat down to eat, she noticed something strange. The dish that Olamide had prepared for her was too familiar. There was something unsettling about the texture, the way it tasted. Her stomach churned as she saw a faint, almost invisible strand of something unfamiliar among the food. Her heart began to race as she reached down to look more closely. There, amidst the cooked meat and vegetables, she spotted it, the unmistakable umbilical cord of her newborn child, twisted into the meal. She froze, a cold shiver running down her spine. Olamide's smile faltered, but only for a moment. The truth was dawning on Zeri, and it was worse than anything she could have imagined. Her stepmother had not come to offer peace. She had come to curse her, to destroy everything that Zeri held dear. With trembling hands, Zeri pushed the plate away. Her eyes locked with her stepmother's, and for the first time, she saw the malice that had always lurked beneath Olamide's beauty. "What have you done?" Zeri's voice cracked with disbelief. Olamide's cold laughter echoed in the room. "You never understood, did you, Zeri? I wanted to break you, make you nothing. You think you're free now, but you're just a pawn in my game. Always have been." Zeri stood, her heart racing with fear and anger. She had been living in a web of lies and deceit, and now the trap had finally snapped shut. But she was no longer the helpless girl she once was. She was a mother, a wife, and a woman who had learned to fight for what she loved. The tension in the air was thick. Zeri knew that the time for forgiveness was over. She had to protect her child, and she would stop at nothing to ensure that Olamide's evil would never touch her family again. The battle for control had only just begun. Please subscribe for more.